Thanks for joining us in the garden today. We are talking about something that you probably cook with quite often at home if you're cooking at home, and something that you said is actually really easy for people to plant in our climate, in the Rogue Valley. I wouldn't think that was the case, but I trust you more than I trust myself. So getting started with onions, what do people need to know? How do you plant these if you want to in your garden?
Sure. They're a little bit unusual for maybe the budding gardener, where they're used to throw out tomato, tomato does its things. Throw out their lettuce, lettuce does its things. Onions are on a little bit of a schedule, but as long as you follow that schedule, they'll be super easy and very rewarding. So the first thing to consider is that onions are broken down into long, intermediate, and short day lengths. That just determines how long the day has to be before they start setting a bulb. So in our area, we are just on the cusp of long, which is north of us. Intermediate varieties are going to be fine. Try to avoid the short day. However, any nursery you're going into that is offering you seedlings and sets and seeds, that's the selection they're almost certainly going to have.
Okay, so what are the kind of some of the differences here for planting between like these really cute little baby onions and then what we have over here?
Sure. So sets are probably one of the most fun things for a gardener who's a little bit stressed about the delicateness of it all. Just like your fall flower bulbs, you're going to dig a little hole, chuck those in there, they'll be fine. These are not exactly going to be the same as the onion you buy in the store. They're grown to be dense with nutrients, not too dried out. Not great for eating, but perfect for getting a plant started. You can also sometimes even get these in fall. They will do their own thing over winter and come up on their own. You don't have to do anything this time of year.
Okay, what about some of the products you need for taking care of your onions once they're in the garden?
Sure. So if your soil is well amended, it drains well, it has organic matter into it, it's not a lot of clay, they're going to grow just fine. The rule of thumb for onions is that they're going to grow up to a certain height depending on that variety, and once they hit that A length is when they start forming a bulb. So if we want to use an all-purpose fertilizer that's just kind of all well-rounded, that's going to be fine for most onions. You may not get your blue ribbon winners, but you'll still get something off of that. If the gardener wants to take a more direct approach, you can have your onions benefiting from a quick-release nitrogen formula up till they get to size, which is usually going to be around April to May, actually I'll say late April to May sometime, maybe later. And then once they get to size, switch over from no nitrogen, high phosphorus, high potassium. So that's going to be some of your things like, where'd you go? Your grow mixes, some formulas of fish fertilizer. The third component of that that's really going to help your onions take up that nutrient and benefit with a really nice large bulb are mycorrhizae. Mycorrhizae are a beneficial soil fungus that has a symbiotic relationship with a lot of your garden plants, onions in particular. When you use this for them, they're going to be better about uptaking of water and nutrients, and all around be a much healthier plant.
Okay, is there anything else people need to know about planting and growing onions?
They make great companion plants if you're limited on space. Almost all your alliums, which is your onions, your garlics, your leeks, do well nestled up side by side to tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, maybe not potatoes. So you can get a lot done. They do prefer full sun, so you can try to grow them in shadier areas, but you might struggle. If you're a gardener are not enjoying how this kind of rigorous routine, or you think it's too rigorous, try the bunching onions, your scallions, or your leeks, or your green onions. You can still enjoy those, have them for your own kitchen without stressing about getting a perfect blue ribbon fair bulb.
Okay, perfect. Well, if you would like to learn more about planting and growing your onions, you can head into Grange Co-op. They have all the different varieties for you. They'll help you with all the products that you need to grow your onions and have them be successful in your garden, maybe even blue ribbon winning onions at that. And we will see you next time in the garden.